I don't know about you, but it absolutely amazes me. Year after year, for the past 175 years, thousands of people from every corner of the world come to this beautiful city of Munich to celebrate the Oktoberfest. What is it that attracts all those people to this otherwise quiet Bavarian town? Could it be they travel all that distance to drink all that beer? Well, there has to be more to the Oktoberfest than that, and maybe while we're here, we'll find out what it is. But in the meantime, the beer wagons are about to roll. The first parade on Sunday is not the main procession, but it is very important because here we get to see the people who have been preparing since the spring for Oktoberfest. Each major brewery has a festival tent where fest visitors may enjoy their favorite brew. On this day, those breweries proudly display their beer wagons and teams of horses. The waitresses are a very important part of the Oktoberfest and the beer tents that we're going to see later on. Oh, it looks like they're getting ready right now. The signal is given and the parade starts. This pretty lady holds a special honor. She is the Münchner Kindl, chosen to lead the festival hosts and breweries because she is neatly dressed and has a big heart. Other very important festival workers are the tent managers. They make sure the Oktoberfest brewery tents are in place, the food is well stocked, and the beer keeps flowing. Without the tent managers, millions of people would be very hungry and very thirsty. We'll meet a tent manager later on, but now here comes a Bavarian band warming up the parade crowd for the start of the 175th Oktoberfest. 50, and it's about to happen 10, where every year the Lord Mayor of Munich taps the first keg of Oktoberfest beer. That's been happening since 1950, and it's about to happen right now. If we're lucky, maybe we can get a front row seat. Come on. The Schottenhamel tent is the only tent on the festival grounds not owned by a brewery. However, the Schottenhamel family has a history that nearly parallels the growth of the Oktoberfest since the year 1867. So it's only fitting that the Lord Mayor of Munich and all the VIPs gather here every year to tap the opening Oktoberfest keg. Lord Mayor George Kronewitter arrived on time, but we still have to wait for the Minister-President of Bavaria, because once the mayor taps the keg, no one can yet have a drink until the mayor and the president make the first toast. As you can well imagine, the crowd is getting anxious. But wait, here comes Minister-President Franz Josef Strauss. Ah, the thirsty throats are about to be quenched. The Lord Mayor must also be anxious because his jacket is off, the mallet is in his hand, and he knows all eyes are on him. The Lord Mayor has a long reputation to uphold. He tries to drive the spigot into the keg with only 3 swings of the mallet, and more importantly, he cannot spill a single precious drop. Let's see how well the Lord Mayor performs. The cheers ring out, and this Lord Mayor remains in good standing with the people of Munich. But there's just one more matter of state to finish before the beer flows freely, the official toast and pictures for the media. And now 16 days of non-stop drinking are underway. Long ago, the record was broken, that record of 4 million liters of Oktoberfest beer. Now today, to get some idea of just about how much beer people will go through, all you have to do is look at the Lowenbrow Lion. Every time a keg is tapped with the Lowenbrow tent, the lion takes a drink. This is a very busy day for Lord Mayor Kronewitter, but I was fortunate enough to speak with the mayor in his Munich office. There he told me about the keg tapping, saying failure at the tapping would be a total disaster, and there's absolutely no excuse for that. The Lord Mayor also had some very special thoughts about the Oktoberfest. What is your personal feeling toward the Oktoberfest? What is it that every year makes your heart happy?
Das Herz jeden Oberbürgermeisters The heart of every Lord Mayor beats faster when the Oktoberfest comes,
Denn das ist eine
as it is an emotional event.
Hier erlebt man erstens einmal den Münchner frei.
Here you can meet the locals in an open and happy atmosphere,
Lebendig,
cheerful and in high spirits,
so wie halt ist,
just the way they are, but perhaps even more original.
Hier wird die
Gemütlichkeit is an outstanding feature.
praktiziert. Und hier hat man das Gefühl,
And one gets the impression that all things blend together harmoniously. The Bavarian people mix with the Northerners, the locals mix with foreign visitors, and cheerful people mix with grumpy people.
und schön ist es, auf dem Oktoberfest das zu erleben. Sie sehen ja das, wenn
You can see for yourself that people get in a state of frenzy and sing and dance on the tables to the tunes of the beer bands.
nicht nur mitzusingen, sondern auch zu tanzen. Das ist schon ein
And all that is a great experience for the Lord Mayor as well.
Der Meister selbst.
Dankeschön.
Bitte schön.
Since this is the first day of Oktoberfest and most people are thinking only of beer, we may as well go inside a beer tent and see just what goes on. The big crowds come in the evening, but early beer drinkers don't have to worry whether the beer deliveries have not yet been made. Quite the contrary. The 9 major beer tents roll in the beer trucks more than 10 times in one day. The deliveries start at 7 in the morning and don't stop until 10 in the evening. Of the 9 major breweries in Munich, those most familiar to Americans are Lohenbrau, Spartanbrau, and Hofbrau. However, the Hockenschor Brewery is one of the oldest in Munich. After seeing all this beer at the Oktoberfest, I became curious about the making of this national drink. So I took a trip away from the festival grounds to the Hockenschor facilities in downtown Munich. The Hockenschor history began as far back as 1417. However, the history of beer itself goes back even further.
I want to know first how beer became so important to the society and culture of Munich originally.
Well, Munich was founded by monks, and Bavaria always has been very religious, and so the monks first started brewing beers because they wanted to compensate for the lack of food during the Lent season, and so many breweries were founded by monks here in the Munich area.
Does each brewery have a special secret recipe, or is it common knowledge what one brewery does to another, with another brewery, and the recipes back and forth?
Well, the basic ingredients are always the same because all breweries in Bavaria have to adhere to the law of purity dating back to 1516, which means that beer can only be brewed with water, malt, hops, and yeast.
So they all go by this law, but then
Yes.
what makes one beer taste different than another if all the ingredients are the same and the standards?
That depends on each brewmaster.
He's got his secret.
That's a secret, yes.
And you're not going to reveal those secrets.
I don't know the secret.
Water, malt, hops, and yeast. After the ingredients are combined in the brew house, the yeast is added. The yeast breaks down the malt sugar into alcohol, but it's not beer yet. The brew goes through the first fermentation stage in open tanks. By the way, you won't find open fermentation tanks in American breweries. The brew is next moved to big storage tanks for 2 to 6 months, depending on the type of beer. Then it's filtered and bottled or kegged. Oktoberfest beer is a special brew. The breweries start making the festival beer in March. The alcohol content is slightly less than regular beer because Oktoberfest visitors tend to sometimes enjoy it too much. Already on the first day, 900,000 liters were consumed. Because of the Bavarian law of purity, set down in 1516, domestic Bavarian beer is not pasteurized. Exported beer is flash pasteurized. However, no Bavarian beer contains chemicals or preservatives. Bavarians hold their beer in high esteem. Here it's called liquid bread. I think it's a good idea now to follow one of these brewery trucks back to the Oktoberfest for some Bavarian song and cheer. Or is that beer? a hearty Bavarian toast to the splendor of this parade. The king believed that folk festivals were a very special part of the national character. He once said his father brought him up to be a good Bavarian. That must mean to never forget the traditions of the past. Oktoberfest than anyone can imagine. Only 2 beer tents specialize in a specific food item. This one is the Ochsenbraterei, here for 140 years. The Oktoberfest oxen are selected every spring from a special Bavarian breed. Those chosen are carefully raised so they produce no muscle or fat. It takes 4 master butchers to prepare the 1,600-pound oxen with 8 pounds of spices for the 7-hour roast. The tent manager here told me the visitors usually consume at least 60 oxen every year. If oxen doesn't whet your appetite, you can always have chicken. Over 600,000 chickens will meet this fate. But the more adventurous palate may want to try the fish on the stick, or stickelfish at the Fischer-Froni tent. This is the only tent where your dinner is prepared outside on the street, and it has been done that way since 1815. Before the meadow became a concrete slab, this tent was next to a lovely creek, therefore the grilled or smoked fish.
That is a delicatessen. That is a ranger, and it is a small thunder. Right?
Is fresh water or seawater or cold? Records amount of food will be consumed during the Oktoberfest. We've seen the oxen, we've seen the fish, we've seen the chicken, but of course the most recognizable food item is the pretzel. So we're going to take a trip away from the Oktoberfest to a pretzel bakery, just to see what's really behind all of these pretzels.
First, of course, the dough has to be made, which takes about 10 minutes. The dough is then rolled out into a thick strand, twisted into the shape of a pretzel, and put into the oven. First, of course, the dough has to be made, which takes about 10 minutes. The dough is then rolled out into a thick strand, twisted into the shape of a pretzel, and put into the oven. There it is automatically dipped in a special glaze, salted, and finally baked.
1 million pretzels from one bakery isn't enough to supply the Oktoberfest, but that's how many the Anton Seidel Bakery will end up making this year. That's 50,000 pretzels a day. To succeed at that monumental task, the bakery will end up working 24 hours a day during the 16 days of Oktoberfest. Every hour on the hour, a truck will deliver the freshly baked pretzels to the festival grounds. Planning for the Oktoberfest began back in March with the signing of contracts and taking of orders. Seidel Bakery has 40 people on the festival grounds selling not only pretzels, but cheese breads, caraway rolls, and other bread products. The familiar pretzel comes in 2 sizes, the regular size to eat with a beer, and a very large size that some people would rather wear than eat. It's normal to see people at the Oktoberfest wearing a large pretzel tied with a ribbon around their neck. The pretzel was first created in Egypt. It's anybody's guess how it got the European twist, but one thing is certain, Oktoberfest beer goes down much faster with an Oktoberfest pretzel. From the oven and on to the Oktoberfest.
They have From 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock in the evening, deliveries to the Oktoberfest. But at 11 o'clock, then it goes on for the normal business.
So the rest of the world goes on in spite of the Oktoberfest.
Lunch in a beer tent. Since we took the tour of the Hagershore Brewery, let's try one of the two Hagershore tents. Here we can talk to the tent landlord about his job. It's a special honor to be an Oktoberfest tent landlord, but the position is not easily obtained. Usually the landlords own restaurants and have a long family history of outstanding reputation. The landlords must petition a brewery, and if the brewery accepts the petition, the landlord arranges everything. All the brewery does is supply the beer and allows the tent to wear the brewery name. That's easy, but estimating the amount of food takes a special talent.
It's 500,000 liters of beer in 1 week or in 2 weeks?
No, in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Circa 50,000 Händel.
It's about 50,000 chicken. 50,000. 50. Yes.
Und jeden Tag außerdem noch circa 600 bis 800 Essen aus der warmen Küche, also wie Spanferkel oder das übrige Geflügel wie Enten und so weiter.
And every day they 500 to 700 assorted meals like pork, roasted pork, and other dishes they have offered in their menu.
And of course, delivering all this food and drink are the waitresses. They must carry up to 12 liters of beer at one time. That takes a big bust and an even bigger heart.
Ja, also bei uns in der Brauerei Herr Boxeherin besonders.
This is a special honor to work here, especially in this box here, in a special department here.
What's so special about this particular box area?
Was ist hier so besonders in dieser Boxe?
Ich bin jetzt 21 Jahre da und immer die gleichen netten Gäste und da macht es besonders Spaß.
She's been working here for 21 years and it's always so much fun to work for the same customers. Come every year for the Oktoberfest.
Die Gäste freuen sich auf uns und wir auf die Gäste.
The guests are looking forward to seeing her and she's looking forward to seeing them.
Does it take a special talent to be a waitress at the Oktoberfest?
Braucht man bestimmte Ausbildung oder Talent, um Bedienung auf dem Oktoberfest zu sein?
Nein, ich finde, wenn man es gern tut, kommt man beim Gast gut an, dann muss man auch keine besondere Ausbildung haben.
If you like to do your job, it's always so much easier to do that job.
She has to carry how many liters of beer?
Wie viele Liter Bier tragen Sie da so im Durchschnitt?
Vor 20 Jahren habe ich immer 11 Maß getragen und jetzt trage ich nicht mehr ganz so viel.
20 years ago she was carrying 11 mugs, but now it's not so much anymore.
Oh, all that eating and drinking, or as they say here, essen und trinken. But a swing to a yodel settles the food and drink and readies the body, if not the spirit, for the ride of your life. The big carnival attraction is the triple loop roller coaster. When it was installed in 1980 as a double looper, the Technical Control Board consulted a professor of space medicine to make sure our bodies can stand the speed and gravity force. The big debate now is whether 2 more loops will be added next year.
Ist gewaltig, es ist toll, was Ihnen hier bei uns
It's too much for the stomach to handle. Have no fear, calmer attractions await. This is the Crinolina. By today's standards, it's almost too calm, but you can imagine the excitement some 60 years ago when the Crinolina made its debut. I tried to find out more, and these gentlemen were very helpful.
How long have you been with the carousel? It's one of the oldest ones here,
That is the oldest one. Leo, it's 70 years. 70?
They got Leo the boss for me. Actually, Leo is more than the boss. He's the grandson of the crinolina inventor, and Leo was more than anxious to tell me the crinolina story. Why is the crinolina a special attraction to the Oktoberfest? Why is it special?
Well, it's a old historic merry all round, you know, and it is the last carousel of this type in Germany.
And probably in the entire world.
Yeah, sure.
Why
Sure.
is it special to you?
Well, yes, this carousel is now in the third generation. And, well, I have this carousel now 4 years.
Few visitors to the Oktoberfest allow themselves the opportunity to escape the carnival atmosphere and discover so much of the beauty that's right in the center of downtown Munich, such as the Hofgarten. After a stroll through one of Munich's many gardens, you may then enjoy a trip to a museum. This, obviously, is the Oktoberfest Museum, open only during the Oktoberfest season. However, Munich is abundant with other museums, historical sites, theater, symphonies, opera, and even street musicians.
Hello.
But the Oktoberfest beckons us back. Here's an interesting fellow in the Hofbrau tent. As the story goes, Aloysius worked in a Munich train station, and he loved his beer. Well, one day God called him to work as a messenger between heaven and earth. On his first delivery back to earth, he couldn't resist the beer, so Aloysius is now hung up in the Hofbrau house. And that's why today they say the Bavarian government has no heavenly guidance. Maybe Aloysius should have drank wine. There is only one wine tent at the Oktoberfest where a visitor can usually always find a seat. Many people from so far away to this annual celebration. The picture is clear now. Oh, sure, the beer is the best, the food at least interesting, but as I heard it said so many times, it's the people, and a certain charm that takes one back to when times were simple. At least once a year, people from all parts of the world, from all stations in life, can forgive hatreds and forget differences. There is much more than the drinking of beer, but yes, maybe it is the beer that relaxes the mind and puts a glow on the faces, but it's all the people sharing one common bond, a bond of happiness. Today we prost, tomorrow we worry. As was expected, this Oktoberfest broke all previous records. 7 million visitors consumed 5.5 million liters of beer. $647,000 chickens and 72 oxen were eaten. And those glass mugs the people drink from, well, a record was broken there also. 250,000 were stolen. The portable bank hauled away 11 tons of hard money from the Oktoberfest, and that means cold, hard cash for the city. As the Lord Mayor told me, the Oktoberfest is an indispensable economic factor for Munich. Well, the Oktoberfest is also an indispensable pleasure factor for millions of visitors, and that includes me.